Hello, guys. Welcome to the show. It's going to be kind of an interesting show. Let's get the chart started right here, and let's take a look at what's going on. Failed ICO goes on sale on eBay. Now, do you guys remember back during the last time that Bitcoin went up into a bull market and all the other digital assets, all these other coins, altcoins, all went up like crazy? Well, there was all these ICOs, initial coin offerings, and everybody was jumping on the bandwagon. There was a lot of excitement and there was a lot of money being made because as Bitcoin went up, a lot of these ICOs were nothing more than Ponzi schemes, And so anyway, one of them here it just didn't take off or anything, and now they're actually looking to sell it on eBay, sell the whole thing for $60,000. The project founder admits the project does not require a blockchain and only needs simple client-server model. It says Sponsi. First off, terrible name. A blockchain-based platform that was being developed to help sponsors engage with their clients in a decentralized manner has reportedly made its way to eBay, a leading e-commerce and online auction site. Sponsi's developers are now reporting trying to sell their failed blockchain project and idea on eBay with bids starting at $60,000. I don't even see them getting the first bid, because the market is cooled off that much. But they were looking to make millions with this. They were just jumping in there. All these ICOs coming from the left, coming from the right. Every new idea that they could think of, during that period in time. Do you guys remember what it was like? It was madness. Quite seriously, madness. Evidently, these guys didn't get in quite in time. Sponsi. What an awful name, I hate that name. It's lousy. But here's one that did get in on the right time. It was called bitconnect, And everybody was jumping in on the bitconnect bandwagon. And I'll tell you what happened with me. I bought like $600 worth of bitconnect coins. I can laugh now, but what happened was I got back about $450, I think, of my initial investment. And they were paying me every month. They were paying me my money back, And if they had run a little bit longer, I might have made a little bit of money, but I lost a little bit. But I didn't lose a lot. I got like most of my money back, And they gave me what was left back in bitconnect coins, which became valueless. I think I still got them, something like 6 of them anyway. But what this bitconnect was it was a very special Ponzi scheme. I have to take notice of it. It was ingenious. It was an ingenious Ponzi scheme. Now, let's take a closer look at our entire monetary system that we have that's being run by the Fed right now. It's a much bigger Ponzi scheme. And, of course, because it's a much bigger Ponzi scheme, it's taken longer for it to collapse. Because it's so big. But, like all Ponzi schemes, math will collapse eventually. And this is frightening. It's frightening, the fact that math will collapse this Ponzi scheme. But looking at Bitcoin, when I first heard about Bitcoin, when my mother first told me about it, I said, oh, it's Ponzi scheme. But I didn't do any research into it. So a few months passed. Oh my gosh, I'm going to tell you what. If I'd listened to her when she first told me, oh, I hate to even think, I think Bitcoin was like $2 when she first told me. Months passed because I thought it was a Ponzi scheme. Finally, in the end, I heard more about Bitcoin on the internet, And I went in and I did some research into it. And I spent all weekend researching it. Because that's what I do. Let's face it, I'm a researcher. So I researched it. And all of a sudden it dawned on me. I said, this is not a Ponzi scheme. I said, quite the opposite. Basically, when I started to realize what Bitcoin really was and the potential that it had, I wanted some. Wouldn't you know it? The exact timing when I wanted some. It went from $60 to $260. And me, I was thinking, oh, I missed the boat. That's what I was thinking. Oh, I missed the boat. Can you believe that? It went from $60 to $260. I thought I'd missed the boat. Well, you know, it's the same thing right now. An awful lot of people out there are thinking, oh, we missed the boat, you know. It went up to 20,000, now it's down, and they think, oh, we've missed the boat. You haven't missed the boat. This is huge. Because what we have is we have the fiat monetary system, which is a real Ponzi scheme, and Bitcoin, which actually is not. It's not a Ponzi scheme. In fact, quite the opposite. It's a deflationary currency. Ultimately, in the end, it's going to eat the Ponzi scheme. It's going to eat it. That's ultimately where we're headed. But this BitConnect was a Ponzi scheme. But it was a very cleverly orchestrated Ponzi scheme. It was amazingly clever, the way it worked, and the way it paid out. It worked on, it applied on people's greed to allow it to function, you know. And quite seriously, it was such a cleverly orchestrated Ponzi scheme, this BitConnect, that it was a long time in it collapsing. Well, here's what I was thinking. Why couldn't the Federal Reserve, copy this Ponzi scheme? Exactly, copy it. And start a new, fresh Ponzi scheme worldwide using BitConnect as they don't have to call it BitConnect, call it something else. But ultimately, this would be the perfect way for them, if they sponsored it, copy the exact model, people that buy in early get paid dividends, right, in some sort of new US dollar coin, right, and really back it, go all in for it, all hog in for it, and back it with new US digital dollars, right? The wealth distribution from this, they wouldn't have to worry about helicopter money. This could be their helicopter money. Because basically how it works is the initial investors get paid dividends, massive dividends, like 15% on their investment every month sort of dividends. So what we have is we have the Federal Reserve, and they come up with some new coin. They call it anything they want, right? Call it Fed coin if they want. That's perfect. You know, and each one's worth the same as the US dollar. Peg it to the dollar, right? They can create as many of them as they want on their new blockchain. Make a new blockchain that these new coins run on. Have the initial investors come in and put their dollars down, real dollars, to buy these coins. And then they pay them like 15% interest per month on their new coins that they've got. And they can convert their coins readily into dollars anytime they want, right? And just this multiplier just keeps going. So the initial investors would get rich, and then they'd tell all their friends, I'm getting rich. And this is backed by the Federal Reserve. And what this would do is this would distribute the helicopter money to the people, to anybody who wants to buy these coins. And of course the people would come flooding in. Massive quantities of people would come flooding in, and what would happen is the earlier they come flooding in, the more money. And the first thing you know, we would be in a economic boom like we've never been in before. And the Fed would be out of trouble. And we would be, this would be helicopter money up the yin-yang, you know, and it could all be legit. Totally legit. By the time it's through, because it's legit, by the time it's finished, after about maybe 3 years, that's about how long it would take to expand out to the point where it's ready to contract, we would be in the ultimate hyperinflation. And of course, the United States would be out of debt. The United States would be out of debt because the money that they would create from this, it would grow to a certain point where the money that would be created from this project, I mean, admit right from the very start that it's a Ponzi scheme. Tell the people, say, okay, it's a Ponzi scheme, but it's going to run for like 3 or 4 years from now, and then we're going to have a reset. Be open and honest about it with the people. You know, say you can adopt and buy in early, and you can be rich. Come on, flood in, buy. You know? And the people that were smart enough to buy, they would end up being rich. Make an golden opportunity for all. You know? And then have a set time when they're going to collapse it all. And restructure the entire system. And make it a managed process so that this global collapse, fiat monetary collapse, would be managed by this. So everybody would know the time scale. Make it all open and above board. Say, okay, this is going to collapse at a certain point, like 4 years from now. So you can get in now. You're going to be rich, you know, the earlier you get in, you know, and people would come flooding in, and then have the whole time scale set out, and even have the people know when this whole thing is going to finally be ended, and then they're going to do a reset of the entire thing. Use it as a tool, a monetary distribution tool that would be even on the fundamental basis of whoever is voluntarily wants to buy in, can buy in. You know? But there's one thing about this. They would have to level the playing field a little bit to make a fair distribution for all. Because the bankers would come in, they'd want to get all the coins. And so they would buy them out. So they would have to have some sort of a system in place so that you could only buy so many per day. Limits, some sort of limits like that. So you could only buy so many per day. And, of course, make it more of a fair distribution of these new Fed coins. But use this same model that was created with bitconnect. You know, the same model that guaranteed this income I forget exactly what it was, how many bitconnect coins. You guys can look it up. All you got to do is put in bitconnect, and you can read this whole thing on Wikipedia. It gives the model and how the whole thing worked, and it was very clever. I got to hand it to them. Anyway, listen. Thank you, guys, very much for listening, and we'll catch you guys in the next show. Bye-bye, guys.